We are doing a lease agreement now for the third floor of the building, but there is one more cell that needs a toilet. And so the only, I think, physical thing that needs to be done by the county for the facility before we change hands is just that one toilet is left. There is some work that the city is going to have to do on its end once it changes hands, and I don't know if JPD has identified funding for that work or not. A lot of it is aesthetic. I don't think it'll be more than $100,000. But there's some work that the city still has to do on our end once it changes hands. And then the other thing that the JPD will have to do within its own budget is figure out funding for operating the jail. So a lot of the conversations we're having right now are about meals, are about linens, are about just a whole procedure for booking individuals in, just making sure that on our end we have sufficient fund. Medical, that's one that we haven't figured out yet. But yes, so the lease agreement will come to you relatively soon. It should be on October 25th agenda. But the actual opening of the facility, we probably are looking at least another 30 days, 30 to 60 days, just based on how soon we can identify that funding and then get the work done that's left to be done and then have everything in place. The last thing that I know of that JPD is doing is we increased the pay for the detention officers, but they have not yet been able to hire additional detention officers. And of course, that's something that has to be in place before we can open it up. So there's a lot of things going on all at the same time, but the lease agreement itself should be here relatively soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President.
Mr. Hartley. Attorney. You know, I met on another reason with one of the county supervisors, and they said they were having these meetings. And I'm just wondering, is there any way that the city council can be apprised of the plan going forward? Just a memo to the president or something so we don't have to ask these questions in this forum. So we'll know what's up to date. And the other thing is, you're anticipating within the next, 60 days of opening, or how long are we looking at?
So one, I would say if you need a memo, that should probably be done by Officer Jimerson, because Officer Jimerson, many of the meetings that we've been having over the last, we're in October, 10 months, have been about the facility itself, not about any of the legal issues, but the facility itself.
Okay.
So the updates, I think Officer Jimerson, he provides us with updates about where we are in the facility. So I think that's something he can do. As far as the opening of the facility, my projection would be 60 days, but that is wholly dependent on us making sure that we have sufficient personnel, somebody on staff, or some type of contract in place for providing medical attention, making sure we're able to provide meals. So a lot of different things that have to happen. And it's all things that we've been working on, but we don't actually have the contracts in place. So once those contracts are in place, that's when we'll be ready to open the facility.
And I appreciate that answer. And again, we can't direct city personnel to provide us information, but we can ask the administration to keep us in the loop on this so that when it comes up, we don't have these questions. We should be a part of the planning process. So thank you, Mr. President.